guys, Jodie here from Jodie Flavor Art. I know I've been absent a while, I know, I won't go into it all right now, but I've had a lot of stuff going on. I painted these really rustic planters this week and I was just really excited to kind of share some of the techniques with you today, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm doing. But first I want to chat about this video's sponsor, which is a hair care product called Waterman's, which I've been trialing for the past couple of weeks. Don't know about you guys, but normally I suffer from really frizzy, big, dry, hair. And I don't know if it's because of the job that we're in, because of all the sand that flies around, you know, the dust. My hair likes to dip into paint, like it sees paint and it just seems to want to go in there and it just wants to be painted like everything else, and then I've got to scrape it out. Anyway, I haven't been kind to my hair, and on top of that I went grey really young. Thanks mum. Seems to be a thing in our family with women that's passed down, and I found it really changes the texture of your hair and makes it much more brittle. Throw a ton of dye on there like I do. I'm not a natural brunette, guys, I'm sorry. I'm actually probably grey now but I'm not a natural brunette. Onyx were kind enough to send me some shampoo and conditioner to try. I use the shampoo Grow Me, which contains caffeine, biotin and argan oil, which strengthens the hair and also increases hair density with lots of body and shine. I also use a conditioner which contains caffeine, cholesterol and rosemary, and most importantly for me, it has frizz control as part of that as well. So just to show you guys the results, I've washed my hair this morning with the shampoo and conditioner. I haven't actually added any product other than heat protection spray, and then blow dried it, and you can see how it's actually made my hair quite nice actually, and I can lift it up and it bounces straight back to normal. It doesn't frizz out. So I'm really pleased with how this works actually. So they ship globally, and if you use the discount code here, then you will receive £5 off your first order. It's also in the description below as well. But anyway, now onto the video.
This week I have these 3 lovely but unwanted planters I'm going to upcycle, starting with this gorgeous Greek style Athena. The first thing I did was use Dixie Belle's Terraclay paint in Malachite, which is this gorgeous deep green, and using a chip brush I just stippled that on there. So by stippling I mean I just gave it, well, by it I mean I gave my brush a really good dab. Sometimes I used other techniques such as brushing in different directions, but mostly I just dabbed away, and this is going to create a lot of texture. So the chip brush as well, it's just a really cheap chip brush from Dixie Belle, I can never say that, chip brush, and it's natural bristled, which is also going to give extra texture, and this means that I'm going to get almost like a stone effect after I've painted her. So what I did was apply 1 coat of malachite first of all. I then went in after it was dried and applied a second, and what I find is when Terraclay paint goes tacky, if you just do a little bit of dabbing over the top, then you get this really cool texture like you can see here. Next I used Laney's Lagoon. It's not the best pot, sorry guys, and again used another chip brush. Laney's Lagoon is this gorgeous bluish turquoise colour, and the scratchy texture of the brush means I'm going to get some really good stippling action, and I just very lightly stippled and dabbed over the top of the malachite. I'm not aiming to cover everywhere, I'm just making it look a little speckled and a little aged. This is going to be sort of a verdigris style, like a Mediterranean patina. That's what I have in mind. If you ever struggle with that, then just do some Googling, just Google patinas. Next, I have the Patina Range from Dixie Belle. I'm using both the copper and bronze, and again just stippling that over the top. So all I'm doing here is creating lots of texture and lots of layers that look like they're kind of all peeling back. And there's my cute neighbour's cat that decided to join me for painting today. Don't overthink this, that it's meant to be random. When things naturally rust and weather, you know, it is random in nature, so don't overthink it. If you find that you're really struggling, like I said, just go look at a photo of something that's naturally patinaed and maybe just try to replicate what you see in that photo. Next, I have the new yellow patina spray from Dixie Belle, and this came out way faster than what I thought it would, and the wall is also now a little bit patinaed. The metallic is still wet, so I'm hoping this is going to rust, and also some of the yellow went over the green, and that's absolutely fine. However, this is what happened after I left it 24 hours and I wasn't totally happy, so I decided to try just to tidy it up a little bit. So I used a little bit of blue agave. I actually felt this colour wasn't needed either. I didn't really think it did anything, so you can skip this part if you want to. All I'm trying to do is not totally get rid of the patina, but just, you know, just soften it up and make it look like, I feel like it has a bit of an industrial look like right now, and like it's a bit graffiti and not so much verdigris. So I'm just trying to, you know, kind of sort that out a little bit. I went back to my Laney's Lagoon, my turquoise, and decided to stipple that over the whole piece again. So I'm still speckling. You can still see that there's some of the colours peeking through underneath, but we've kind of made it a little bit more subtle, you know. Next is pistachio. Sorry, I know there's a lot of colours here, guys. This is me not probably giving a tutorial right now, but doing my usual, let's just throw some paint on it and see what works. I'm going in with just a little bit of pistachio over some areas. I think this is going to give it a really cool weathered look. I don't know, like when you see things that are weathered, they usually have this like mossy green over them, and that's kind of what I have in mind as I was painting this over the top. And I'm just doing a little bit of dry brushing as well. Again, don't overthink it. I felt like all of the metallic had disappeared, so I decided to scrap the bronze and I went over the top with a little bit of the copper. Just the exact same as last time, and I still stippled it, but I did some, you know, blockier bits of the copper because I really wanted it to have that metallic, you know, oxidized, rusty feel to it. So verdigris is basically just oxidized copper. It's where acid has touched copper and it's kind of gone, it's reacted and gone a little bit green. I believe that's what it is anyway, so that's what I'm doing here. And then lastly, I sealed with some hard wearing clear wax and went in there with some brown wax over the top for age. I love my brown wax, I didn't shy away from it. This will not only seal the piece, but also it's just going to add, like, just make it look a lot more rustic as well. Make sure you stay tuned to the end for the full reveal. Next, I am going to show you how I created a very textured concrete look on this piece here. I started with Dixie Belle Mud in White, which is going to give me lots of texture, and the spatula tool that Dixie Belle provide. I put a lot on my spatula and I just began scraping away over the top of this vase. Again, don't worry about being perfect here. I don't even know what perfect would be for this look because we're trying to create lots and lots of texture. So I'm going in different directions. There's thicker bits of the mud in some areas, thinner in others, and yeah, it's looking kind of messy. I know it's looking probably a little bit nuts right now, but trust me, this will all work out in the end. I'm generally just trying to get a really, really good base over all of the piece, and then I'm going to go in and just create some crevices afterwards, you know? So, like I said, just get your spatula and go to town with it. I left it to mostly dry. There's still some tacky areas, but it's still looking nuts, I know. But then I decided to go in with Dixie Belle's Onyx, which is from the Terra Clay Paint range, and it is a nice black. I'm carrying on with my usual stippling method and getting even more texture over this. So this is clay paint that I'm using, and if you think, it has clay in it, so this is going to dry very hard as well. The idea was to leave some of the mud tacky, is that it's going to mix in with a little bit of the Onyx and just going to sort of create little soft, subtle, you know, shades of the black. You can see here it's mixed in a slight, like tiny bit, but I don't know, like you could leave it to completely dry if you want. I don't really think it made too much of a difference. And then after that I went in with some Moonbeam, which is a lovely white from Dixie Belle's Terra Clay Paint range, and stippled that over the top as well. The Onyx was wet when I went in with this, so the reason being is that I wanted to get I definitely wanted different shades with this part. So there are going to be areas where some of it is like much more white, and then areas where it's grey, and then areas where it's black. So I'm not going in with an even blend here, I'm just getting some white on my brush and seeing what happens. Then I went in with some 120 grit sandpaper and just started sanding that back when it was all dry. And you can see here that all the texture that I created with the mud is starting to really peek through now. So some of the white that you're seeing here is the mud, and it just creates interest. It creates something that you want to look at as well as touch, and makes it look genuinely like it was once, well, genuinely like it's made from concrete. I thought this was such a cool effect, and I was really happy with the way it's turned out because I've never quite used mud in this way before. And then once I'd done all that, I sealed again with clear wax. I don't know what's happening to Athena back there. She looks like she's had one too many to drink. She's soaking in all the sun. Anyway, and then I went in with a little bit of brown wax just at the bottom, just to add a bit of age, and a little bit of bronze at the top, just to add some extra interest. Because I love gilding wax and I love brown wax, I just try to incorporate them in pretty much every project that I can, really. Lastly, I have this lovely jug. I want to say it is lovely, guys, but it was sat unwanted in a charity shop and it was very cheap to buy. And then I decided to go in with some Slick Stick. So I went in with 2 coats of Slick Stick, and this is an adhesive primer, which is going to make sure that my paint adheres when I paint over the top of it, because the original material of the jug is quite slippery and the paint might struggle, you know. Once I applied my Slick Stick, I went in with Moonbeam, which is this. You can see it's a little bit of an off-white colour, but it's the whitest white in the Terra Clay Paint range. I used a chip brush to apply it, and I'm just creating some texture here. So you can see that there are lots of brush strokes, and I'm really fine with that. Next, I have Bougainvillea, which is this lovely pink colour, and I'm using a synthetic brush for this, and I used a little bit of water. Wasn't sure when I started out what I actually wanted to achieve with this look. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to have a play and see what happens. So I decided to put the Bougainvillea colour underneath, like the bottom of the jug. I can't speak today, guys, sorry. And I thought maybe I would try a little bit of an ombre. So so I put it at the bottom, and I was adding water, and I was creating texture and just hopefully different variations of the pink. And then I came in with some more of my Moonbeam, the white colour, and started blending that in as well. But I was going in lots of different directions because I wanted this, as I say, this really rustic look. So I knew I wanted some kind of like different shades of pink, and maybe some kind of ombre. I just wasn't sure how I wanted to achieve it at that point. Terra Clay Paint reacts really well with water, it reactivates, so don't feel like you have to rush anything. You can just take your time and have a play, and it is absolutely great for that. So I'm just going back and forth here with the pink and white. I decided I wanted a lighter colour on top, darker on the bottom. However, I didn't want it to be perfectly even. I then went back to my Bougainvillea with a chip brush and just started dragging it upwards. And I thought that might look really nice, actually, like a really cool effect. Like just to have those brush strokes, and it was just going to create something a little bit more rustic and a little bit more interesting. Because I don't know, I love rustic planters. Generally, these kind of planters are really expensive when you go to the shops, you know, the ones that are really kind of like made of concrete or have naturally patinaed. I just find that they're quite pricey, so buying them cheap from a charity shop and then transforming them into those kind of looks really works for me. And then went in with a little bit of gold gilding wax over the top. Again, because I just love it. I love gold, I love gilding wax, I love metallics, and I decided it wasn't rustic enough, so I went in with some brown wax and put that everywhere basically as well. And here are the finished looks. Are you guys a fan of this kind of upcycle? Do you enjoy the faux finishes and the concrete rustic kind of textures? Let me know in the comments, and have a great day.